Tubin family, my name is Michaela Deshawn, and this is my husband,
Marco Sazile.
and we are so glad you're here. Welcome back to my channel. You already know I'm back like I never left. I told y'all I got a special guest for y'all today. This is my husband, my best friend, my boyfriend. I love him so much. And so today, y'all, I got something a little special for y'all. This is a very highly requested video.
Ooh.
So previously, right, I filmed a video and it was how we met, and it was from my point of view. So today, he is going to be speaking about how we met from his point of view. But before we get into that, I want to thank everyone who subscribed to my channel. You know, last week we hit over 100 subscribers. Y'all are running it up. I appreciate y'all. I think right now we're sitting at like 120-ish. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys. And to love on you guys and show you guys my appreciation, I do have a giveaway going on. So many people have entered already, but if you haven't, go ahead and enter right now on my last video. Go check that out. Follow the prompts for the requirements, and I want y'all to tap in. That drawing is going to be, or not the drawing, but the winner will be announced on April 7th, so I already know it's going to be lit. It's going to be good vibes. I just want to love on y'all and bless y'all for loving on me and for being on this journey with me. So, we about to tap into this video. I'm not going to talk no more. I'm about to turn it over to my husband. I'm going to be behind the camera kind of walking him through, you know what I mean? And we're going to get into it. All right.
This is everybody's favorite part, so let me...
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Yes. All right. So, how do we first meet, or where do we meet?
Oh, we're starting.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're back again, and we are starting right now. My name is Marco Sazile. As y'all know, I'm Michaela Deshawn's husband, y'all. This is the first time she done brought me on this stand. I've been asking to get on this stand.
Oh my gosh.
But she's over there looking amazing. She's looking like a bag of delicious. Yes, my love.
Babe, how did we meet?
How did we meet? How did we meet? Well, I mean, I guess the first thing that I could say, I'm looking at y'all, but I'm talking to her. She's back there, but I'm looking at you. I'm paying attention to you. Right there. Yeah, you. Eating dinner. So, okay, I guess the best way I can answer how we met is by answering when we met. Guys, she touched on this already, but we actually met in 6th grade at Mary Passage Middle School. Yeah, I'm going to air it out. Mary Passage Middle School. Shout out to Mr. Noel. We met at Mary Passage Middle School in Miss, I don't even remember her name's class. I knew I was trying to blow up her spot though.
Oh, I already shouted her out.
In Miss Moses' class. You know what I mean? It was a math class in 6th grade. She was sitting right beside me, y'all. And I gotta let you know, like, she was like the sweetest girl I ever met and known. So for those of you who knew me back in 6th grade, I was very, very shy. And like very like shy to myself. You know, I've been through a lot. You know, I'm from Zimbabwe. So I'm not used to being around American folk, you know, American people. So I was very shy, and she was sitting right beside me, and she was always so nice to me. Everybody was mean to me in 6th grade, you know, to be honest, but she was very kind. She was very nice to me, and I had always wanted to talk to her, but because I'm shy, I didn't really know how to really speak up and be her friend, you know what I mean? But deep down, I'd always wished that she would talk to me. You know, I wanted to be her friend. I genuinely wanted to be her friend, you know. So she would sit like right beside me at times. Not all the time, not the entire year, but she would sit right beside me for most of our class time. And I remember she would say, hey, right? Hey. And then, you know, I deep down would want to say, hey, back. Like the voice inside me would be like, hey, but the nervous me would just sit there, look at the wall, and be quiet. Like,
That's exactly how you was.
and that's literally the face I would make, literally, when she would speak to me. And I'd be like, hey. And that's it. And that's it, because I'm nervous. So I'm like, man, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. But like, it would help me. And she would be one of the only people that made me feel welcome. And that really speaks to who Michaela Deshawn is. Like her spirit, she makes you feel welcome. She makes you feel loved. I definitely felt the love back then. And that is how and when I met my wife. We're in class. And, you know, she used to think I was smart. She used to think I had a little noggin here. You know what I mean? And, you know, maybe I had a little something. I don't know. We kept running into each other, and that's purposeful. So The next time that I met her was at a technology student competition / business competition in Newport News. And it was at the Down and Groves Cultural Arts Center, if I remember right, correct?
Probably, I don't know.
It was at the Down and Groves Cultural Arts Center. I saw her before she saw me, right? And in my head, I automatically writ off that she was going to remember me or not. So I was like, I don't know if she's going to remember me. So, like, I saw her and I was like, oh, there go Michaela, and so on and so on. And, I kept going and, so I was like, I was thinking about it throughout the whole confession. Does she remember me? Nah, I don't think she remembers me. But she looked beautiful. I remember looking at her and be like, man, she looks cute. She looks beautiful. I remember what she was wearing. I was like, man, well, it's not about that. Let me tell you, it's not about the looks, but it's about what's on the inside. But, I remember looking at her, I'm like, man, there she go, man. I wonder if she remembered me. She was so sweet. She was very kind. And, I was like, man, she had a big smile and so on and so on. I'm like, man, I'm glad she's doing good in life. And then, so keep going through the competition. Everybody's eating lunch. And I see her come into the door, but I act like I don't see her because I'm like, she don't know me. She don't know me. But I see her, and I'm like, oh, man, she just came in. I'm getting my lunch and so on and so on. And, I stayed there for a little bit. Is she going to remember me or not? And then people were passing through, and then she was on the other side about to pass through. And then she saw me, and I saw her. And then she was like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like, you know me? And then she was like, Kosi. And then she came up and she gave me a huge hug. And it was like, if you know Michaela, you know this Michaela hug is nice, very soft. And she gave me this huge hug, and it felt very warm and peaceful, Like I say, I'm not going to get deep, but it was a good hug, and I really enjoyed the hug. It made me feel acknowledged. I thought it was kind of dope. I didn't think she was going to remember me, but I was very happy to see her. And that was like one of our major big run-ins together. We didn't communicate. We didn't trade numbers at that point. But there was this next time. Okay, this is when it gets spicy, right? This is when it gets spicy. So the next time that I saw her, it was a whole different dynamic, right? It was a Planet Fitness. We're a Planet Fitness. I ain't gonna give too much names, but it was Oyster Point. It was a Planet Fitness, right? And again, it's funny because every time we see each other, I see her, you know what I mean? But this time was different. I spoke. I initiated this interaction. I initiated this conversation. I saw her at Planet Fitness. She was walking. Well, when I pulled up, she was getting ready to go into the gym, right? So I'm still driving, right? And, I got some Timbs on. I got a button-up shirt. I got some jeans. I'm like dressed up all the way to the go. And this is funny, but I'm driving. And then I see her and she's walking, right? And I'm like, there go Michaela, right? Now, every time I see Michaela, it's never been on some like, how guys be, ooh, you know what I mean? But it's always been on some like, I'm so happy to see you because you are a person that brings joy. You are a person who, when I think back, I see fond memories of you. I see memories of like, they're peaceful, they're nice, they're fun. And I'm very happy and joyful to see you type of feeling. You know what I mean? And then there was also, man, she looks beautiful. But I was just genuinely happy to see her. That time, that making was very much destiny. I want God, you know what I'm talking about. I say destiny, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about God. So that time was very much God. You know what I mean? At that time, I didn't really know God that much. I was in an interesting state, which y'all gonna get to know more about later on as she brings me on, if I get a second invite. Yeah. But I saw her and it was something I was like, man, I gotta talk to her. I got to talk to her. So, I see my wife and she's walking and I see her from afar and I'm like, yo, Michaela. And then she doesn't hear me, right? And I'm driving. I'm like, Michaela. She doesn't hear me. I don't even remember where I was going. But I'm like, Michaela, which is funny. She doesn't hear me, right? And I'm like, oh, man, she can't hear me. She's doing her thing. She's packing up. She's getting her stuff together. And you know, she's getting ready to go to the gym. So I see her, she's walking down. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm talking to her this time, right? So I pull up, I park, right? I get out the car. I'm like, yo, Kayla. And then, you know, she doesn't hear me. And then she sees me. And I'm like, hey. And then she's like, oh my gosh, how are you? It's so good to see you. Oh man, how are you? You know, Kayla, how are you? It's so fun to see you. I'm so happy to see you. And then she gives me that big hug, and I give her a big hug. And I'm like, man, Kayla's really growing up, man. I'm like, man, she seems like she's doing her thing. She and her, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, you know, and I'm growing up too. At this point, I got dreadlocks all the way down to my back, and you know, I'm doing my thing. I'm rapping and this and that, and you know, we give each other a hug, and then she's like, yo, how are you? How have you been? And I'm like, you know me, I'm like, I've been good, you know, but at that time I used to speak at a lower octave, and you know, I was a little more serious, so it sounded more so, yeah, man, you know, I've been doing good, you know, it's been good, you know, it's been straight, you know, I just, you know, doing music and, you know, so on and so on, rapping, you know, it's good to see you, you know, but really on the inside, I'm like, I'm doing great, I'm doing fantastic. But I'm talking to her and so on and so on, and then she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, man, I do music and so on and so on. And she was like, yeah. And then, you know, I'm like, yeah. And then I start rapping to her, and I spit a rap to her. I'm like, police signs became a tune like brass treble. Violence, survivors driving us like gas pedals. Silence due to the masses of yellow tape that the schedule is blocks full of adolescents who think they know the best. No common sense. The late seas manifest to a coward sense. You know, I spit a rap for her off the top, like straight up. And then she was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, you know, how are you? You doing good? And, you know, I'm trying to flirt, you know what I mean? And I don't know if she realized I'm trying to flirt, but, like, I'm flirting. So I'm like, yo, check this. I'm like this, bro. I'm like, man, what was I like? You know, I'm talking to her. I'm like, what you do now? And, oh, you going to the gym? I'm like, man, that's cool. And in my mind, I'm like, man, she's gorgeous. She's fine. She's beautiful. I'm like, man, she's fine. So I'm like, man, like, what do you do now? Like, you know, she's telling me she in school and so on and so on. And she's like, it's so good to see you. I'm like, man, it's good to see you. She was one of those people who brought joy. Just seeing her, no matter when part of my life, I was just happy to see her. I don't know how to describe that in any deeper, more philosophical terms, but I was just happy to see my wife. You know, I'm calling my wife, you know, like at that time, like, you know, she wasn't my wife, but I was just happy to see her. So I'm like, talking, I'm flirting, you know, so on and so on. I'm like, you know, so what type of stuff you like doing? You know, what type of stuff you into? And she's like, you know, I like going to the beach, long walks on the beach. She's like, I like going to, she was like, I like going to the beach. She was like, I like going to the beach, you know, I like eating out, and she was like, I like dancing, which now I know she was capping because she does not like dancing. She was big capping for y'all. Yeah. She was capping for the gram. No. She told me she likes going to the beach, right?
I do like going to the beach, so look at the water.
Fast forward, later on in our relationship with dating, I take her to the beach, and she can't get in the water. She can't even get past her toes, y'all.
I like looking at
the water. She can't even get past her toes.
Come on, bro. I do like dancing. I just like Millie rocking, like turn up type thing.
She told me she liked dancing. She don't want to dance with me. Cause see, I'm a serious guy. Cause when we actually went on a date, I took her exactly where she said she wanted to go. So yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, man, that's cool. You know, I'm like, yeah, you know, I like going to the beach too. You know, so like, yeah, you know, I'm like, you know, I would like to see you again. You know, and you know, I'm like.
You know, we end up exchanging contact information or whatever. What was that face for?
What face?
Anyway, we exchanged contact information, and you know, I had went to, so what you about to do? He's like, oh yeah, I'm about to work out. Now, those that know me know I'm very, very observant and just like, I don't even try to be, but I'm just very observant. So I'm like, oh, okay, really? He's like, yeah. So we all walking in, right? Mind you, pause. Homeboy got on Timberland boots on. Timberland boots on, some like baggy jeans. Like he look nice, you know what I mean?
Dressed up.
I'm about to go work out.
Button up, dress.
Gold chain.
You know
what I mean? So I'm like,
yeah, I'm about to work out.
You about to work out, okay? So speed up. We walk in there together. You know, I go straight in. I start working out. And I see him at the front desk or whatever. Turns out, Buddy was making a membership to the gym.
I sure was making a membership.
Hey,
And by the way, I went to the gym. I was running on the treadmill with Tim, some jeans on, so on and so, going hard and paint in the gym, trying to impress her. Whole time looking dressed up like a mug. The things you do when you like a girl. So, can you be back for this part?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point in time, y'all, like he shared, he wasn't well. He was dealing with a lot of health, different type things. But at this time, I didn't know that. I had no idea. Had no idea he was only working with like 4 hours of activity, right? And so we dated for a couple of months. We dated for a good chunk of change. And then I remember, if you watch my video, I went out of town. I came back, and we were supposed to like go on a date that day, but I had never heard from him again until.
So at that point, she went out of town, and we were supposed to go on a date that day. And on that day, I got a big diagnosis, and I went into a depressive state, and I completely cut off all communication with her and other people as well. And that lasted for a while, and until the point where I eventually got out of the depressive state. But then at that point, I've had somebody cut off communication with me before. And with the hurt of somebody cutting off communication with me, leaving my life, I've dealt with being abandoned a lot in my life. I had always wished within myself, if somebody leave, I want them to come back. You know what I mean? So with that same mind state, I would always think, man, should I call her? Should I call her? Should I let her know what's been going on? This and that. And it will always be in the back of my mind. But like, I ended up not doing it because in my head, I'm like, okay, one, what if she's starting to heal from what happened and now I come back and I tear it open again? Or, man, when this happened to me, I wish that the person wouldn't come back because I'm like, man, like, because of that hurt, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I'm like, well, she might just probably angry at me regardless of what happened or regardless of what it is. She probably doesn't want to see me again, because like she said, we were dating for some months. We were dating, so, and I just fell off the face of the earth. And
I thought Buddy was dead.
She thought I was
looking for her. I'm like, yo, have you heard? I'm looking at obituaries, making sure he ain't come up. Couldn't find him. Nothing, until 2019.
Nothing until 2019. So, fast forward. Now, she was keeping tabs on me, right? So she followed me on Instagram.
But she was doing the same thing.
And I was following her. I was checking her page and, man, I wonder how she's doing. Like, I was happy for her. Like, when I saw good updates on her page, that made me happy. That brought me joy because I genuinely cared about her. You know what I mean? And I'd always wish, man, like, I wish things could be different. I wish we could talk. You know what I mean? But, like, the whole time, you got to understand people. You didn't see that. We got to... Whole time you got to understand people. Like, I didn't know the love of God, but she had the grace and the love of God. You gonna see. I didn't know the love of God at that time. I was very into things that were not of God. You know what I mean? I was very into, doing stuff I was supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So during that time period, I was very lost. That's the best way I can put it, if that kind of makes sense to you. I assumed she would feel the way I would feel, if that makes sense. But I always wanted to make it right with her. And we had a friend that was a mutual friend. Well, her cousin and my friend. And, me and him reconnected. I got better, improved from the situation. I started doing better health-wise. The entirety of the first time we dated, I was not doing good health-wise, but she had no idea I wasn't doing good. Like, I was overtime trying to hide it so that she couldn't see or recognize it, which that's the first mess up right there, actually. You got to be transparent. You got to be open.
That's a word.
That's a word. Mm-hmm. But God gave me the grace to be able to experience her, if that kind of makes sense. Continue to experience her. God gave me the grace for that because it so happened that my friend and her and her were cousins. You know what I mean? So my friend wanted me to go to a party, But at that time, you know, I was like, you know, man, I don't want to go to the party. I was in the gym. You know, I was like, you know, I was really working out this time, but not like, you know, just going to the gym because like I saw her, you know. But you know, I was like actually, you know, going hard in the paint, you know, knocking them out. And you know, I'm like, man, I'm not trying to go to no party, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to go to no little get together and so on and so on, man. You know, I got some stuff to do. Point, like, you know what I mean? Like her friend, like, you know, my friend, excuse me, you know, trying to get me to go to this party, but I'm like, man, I'm not trying to go to that party. You know, I was out there wilding, you know, and also doing my gym stuff at the same time. So, and then he was like, you know, Michaela's gonna be there, right? And I was like, huh? He was like, Michaela's gonna be there. I was like, you know Michaela? And then he was like, yeah, that's my cousin. I'm like, what? For
Shout
real?
out to Twin.
Shout out to Twin.
Yeah, Twin.
And he's like, yo, that's my cousin. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, yo, I'm about to FaceTime her right now. So he FaceTimed her, right?
At work. I'm at work.
She's at work. And man, when I saw her, my heart smiled. I was like, man. And then she was like, you know, he was like, hey, Twin, guess who's with me? Kosi, you know what I mean? And put the camera up to show me. And I was like, hey. And then she was like, hey, how are you? And I was like, I'm doing good. And like we were talking, having a conversation. And I was like, yo, she does not hate me. Yo, she doesn't despise me. Like, yo, she just genuinely wants to see how I am. I didn't know a person had that sort of love inside them. You know what I mean? Where I hurt her really badly. You know, I knew I hurt her. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't, you know. But I hurt her really badly, you know. But she looked on me with love. And she looked on me with care and kindness. She looked on me as somebody, you know, who she hadn't seen in a long time and just wanted to see, if that makes sense. And that blew my mind because I'm like, yo, like she really like loved me. You know, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I know the L word is a little strong word at this time, so she really care about me. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, I can say the L word now because I'm married. She really care about me, right. And I'm just like, yo, that's like awesome. I'm just like, yo. So I'm like, I want to go to this party, right? Mm-hmm. We go to this party and I see her, right, and she sits right beside me. So we meet at the party. Long story short, we talk to each other. I'm like, I'm about to head out. And as I'm leaving the party, I'm like, hey, can you walk me out? Right? Now, you know, I just wanted some alone time with her. And, you know, so we go out, we walk out, and, you know, we walk out in the parking lot. And, you know, I apologize. I'm like, man, I am so sorry. And we really talk. And I'm like, I let her know what's been going on. I let her know what happened. And I asked for her forgiveness, right? Now, I didn't ask it expecting like everything was going to be hoopty-daisy. But I asked it because I wanted to make things right with her.
I was genuinely glad to see him. You know what I mean? I always wanted to make sure he was good and just see him happy and flourish. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw him, I was genuinely like so happy. So when he's talking to me, I'm on some like, you got some serious explaining to do. I know you alive now. You ain't dead. So what's going on? Mm-hmm. He told me, but I was praying to God, like God is, he capping or he, this is the truth. Serious. And I could sense that he was, you know, very transparent with me and telling the truth. So.
And then at that point, now, I still like her, y'all. I still like her a lot. I still think she's the best thing since sliced right. She's gorgeous and beautiful. So I'm like, I mean, even when she walked in through the door, I was like, yes, women of my dreams, come in, enter.
You're so dramatic.
Enter. So I was like, man, look, like, even when she walked through the door, the kid back, I'm like, man, you know, I'm like, man, I make sure there's a empty seat right beside me. So she come in, she sit down.
No, Twin moved out the way.
No, Twin. Why you think he moved out? So look, there's a seat right beside me. She sit down right beside me, mm-hmm. And like I'm not trying to get too deep, but when she's sitting down right beside me, I got my knee and her knee were touching. You know what I mean? And I purposely made my knee touch her knee to see if she was gonna move her knee away from my knee. And she didn't move her knee. Now, I thought that was just in my head, like, you know, maybe I'm a little too deep into it. But it turns out she kept her knee on purpose. You know, years later, we talking about it. Mm-hmm. And she knew I put my knee there on purpose.
Yeah. I knew this. I'm true to this.
She true to this. But I still like her. I never stopped like her. You know, I still had feelings for her. So I'm like...
Same.
and she still had feelings for me. So at this point, we don't reconcile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now reconciliation is a process, but we have reconciled to a point where we are able to then pick a direction to head in our relationship, right? So we reconciled, and so on. The forgiveness happens, and then I'm like, so I want to see you again. And is that what I was saying?
I don't remember. But...
I don't remember what I say, but I leaned in for the kiss. And the kiss happened. And it was magical. True. Back when my kisses was magical.
Don't get on your wall.
Back when my kisses was magical. And it was magical. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, it's like, it didn't stop because of a dislike, if that kind of makes sense, you know? It stopped because of a life event, and I was wrong not to share or communicate that, you know what I mean? But just because the life event happened doesn't mean that the feeling stopped. From that day, when I tell you that singular day, we are literally
inseparable.
Have been inseparable, have not spent more than like a day away. Okay, we did one time. We spent a week away when she went out of town. But other than that, we have not spent more than a day away. Now, one could say, man, that sounds kind of like...
That sounds
crazy.
But that's like an over-exaggeration. But, you know what I mean? Like, we were definitely, like, inseparable. Mm-hmm. It's almost like there was never a gap in between, like, you know, our dating, so...
We're best friends. So, not any disrespect to her other, like, friends that were, like, you know, but we're best friends. So, he knows who I'm talking about. We're best friends, you know what I mean? We were inseparable! We were very inseparable, guys. So, like, when I say, like, we're inseparable, we spent literally, like, okay, I'm exaggerating, but literally every single day together, bro. And I'm like, but it didn't feel like, man, I'm getting tired of this person. Because I enjoyed this person. Like, we're not only were we together and romantically in a relationship, but we were friends. We were some great friends. Like, you know what I mean? Our friendship has stood the test of time. You know what I mean? And friendship ain't a friendship. It hasn't been tested, right? We're friends. You know what I mean? Like, so no matter anything, no matter what day, what it was, like, the energy never changed, bro. Like, it did not feel like, I mean, we spent all the time together, like, for real. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it. And I fell in love with this lady. You know what I mean? That's the story, too.
That's a whole nother
story, too. But I fell in love. I told her I was in love with her, and, you know, she didn't say it back, but it's all good. She said it back later on. Eventually broke my heart in pieces. But but it's all good. I told her I was in love with her. Man, you know, I fell in love with her. And we lived happily ever after.
Yeah, now we're married.